Hi, everybody. Welcome to Live with Ms. Steph. Today is Monday, June 30th, 2025. Once again, welcome to Live with Ms. Steph. Thank you so much for watching your weekly Science Club news. Hi. Thank you so much for joining us. So, my apologies for being ever so slightly a little tardy. I'm doing a lot of things. As we know, we are in our countdown, to SSC 2025. And for those of you who do not know what the abbreviation means, Summer Science Club 2025. SSC also means Saturday Science Club, and it also means Steph Science Club. So that was intentional, okay? Y'all know how I feel about setting intention, planning, and then executing. That being said, welcome to the Monday, June 30th, 2025, Live with Ms. Steph episode. We are going to hop right in. I will break down some basic Science Club news for you. Then I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about my reasoning behind the different communications and different things that we do have coming up this week. It's really I'm going to be doing Science Club news. We'll do some nonprofit / summer camp tips for folks, because y'all know we do some consulting around here. And so I'll be dropping some tips and hints and tricks for you. And then finally, I'm going to do a review of a different brand of Play-Doh. Not Play-Doh, but Play-Doh. Alrighty then, hopefully you heard the difference. We'll do a quick little review of that, and that'll be the end of today. So let's hop in with our news this evening. If your child is registered for Summer Science Club, you should know, okay? Because this evening we have our parent orientation. I'm looking forward to meeting some of our new families, as well as getting to say hello to our returning families. Once again, that is this evening at 6 p.m. in person. For those of you wondering, it is an in-person session. Other things that we've got going on, as I've shared with you before, on Monday, July 7th, we will be launching Summer Science Club 2025. So those are important dates for us. We will be culminating and having our end of summer event on Friday, August 8th. So camp will end on August 8th. We'll have some probably special snack that day and all those different things. We'll be cleaning up the classroom. I know before camp is even started, I'm already talking to y'all about cleaning up, but that's only because I like folks to know what's happening. Now, between that, there are some of you all who are aware I've invited your child on a field trip or two, all those types of things. You want to contact me now, because I already started booking field trips already. Yes. Okay. And so if you're one of those families, please make sure that you reach out to me this week via email, or you can send me a DM connected to this message. Wherever you see this video, you can send me a DM on that process. I will say that YouTube, it takes me a little bit longer to respond to YouTube, but on Facebook and on Instagram DMs, I get back to you right away. So that's that. So we've got our parent orientation today. We have our Summer Science Club. I'm already excited about Saturday Science Club. Summer Science Club launch next Monday, July 7th. We'll be closing out Summer Science Club on August 8th. So that will be the day we will have our party, our end of camp party, as well as our summer camp cleanup. Right? So for those of you who know, you know how we do. Community is one of our 4 C's over here. And so, you know, if you've already been invited, you know. Okay. And if you haven't been invited, but you're part of the community, you already know what to do. Okay. So that's that. Saturday Science Club will launch in October. We'll begin Saturday Science Club in October. But in September, be advised, we will be at several community events. And I am working on some super cute and / just super functional things for the events in September. So you're not going to want to miss those. Make sure that you're watching all of the different things. Additionally, as far as our Science Club, traditional Ms. Steph Science Club summer break, that will happen the last 2.5 weeks of August. So during that time period, be advised that we are going to be out of reach. Why? Because we take a break at the end of August. So from August 14th on through to the end of August will be our break. All right. Now, other things. First of all, thank you for joining us and watching live with Ms. Steph. As far as other things going into what we, my tips and the things that are important. Going into our summer camp tips, right? Because again, we do consulting, and yes, you can reach out to Triple F Empowerment Inc. to get information about helping us provide you with an actual framework for running a summer camp. We do provide that service. That being said, for those of you who just can get the hints, one of the major teacher tips or director tips that I do, communication. And so that starts with making sure you have an in-person, especially these days, we could do in-person stuff. Make sure you have a parent orientation. That is one of my highest recommendations when it comes to summer program. I have been running summer program. This is my 20th year that I will be doing in a row, by the way. 20th consecutive year of running summer program here in Harlem. Do not start camp without an orientation. Do not do that. That is my tip. Okay? There are different ways I can say that. I can say that the positive framing way. Make sure you have an orientation. And also the communication starts at registration, right? So in our registration form, and for those of you who have participated in our program before, definitely put in the comments and talk about how you feel about the communication. Hopefully you're saying positive things, because I almost over communicate. I would rather you know minute by minute what your child is doing than have no idea, because to me that's a way that we honor one of the values that we have: respect, safety, learning, and fun. Those are our 4 values that we have. And of course, like I said, we have our 4 C's: camp, community, consulting, and community. As far as those, right, the 4 C's are the things that we give, and our values are the way that we approach those things that we give, right, to the community. And so administering all of those components must be done in a way that's communicative, and so that families know what's going on. And we consider family what you translate as family. And so one of the things that I like to do when it comes to parent orientation is that sometimes I will call it family orientation, because not everybody is being brought to camp on a regular basis. Maybe your mom or your dad registered you. Yeah, sure. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's who's bringing you to camp or who's picking you up. Right? It could be an auntie, it could be an uncle, it could be an elder sibling that's an adult. So those are the folks that we're saying who are going to be meeting with me this evening. Major things that I recommend that you cover at your parent orientation. First of all, cover all the stuff the DOH tells you to cover. Number 1. Okay? Department of Health actually does communicate some certain things that we are supposed to share with families. And as a permitted summer camp, okay, that title summer camp is a very specific title. When I originally launched, that's actually why I called programs Ms. Steph Science Club, because I wanted to make sure that we would have that fluidity that was necessary when it comes to some of our other components and all the things that we do. And I wanted it to feel like a community, like something that the children belonged to, and actually not just the children, but their families as well. And so that's why we say club. And that being said, camp is a specific designation here in New York City. Okay. And so when I say we are a camp, know that we meet the criteria and the permit process for that. And so there are things that New York Department of Health says that you must have to be a camp. And there are things that we are to communicate to parents, and permissions and things that we need to get. And so that's the major stuff that we will cover this evening. Other things that I like to cover, that I recommend that you cover with your program. Again, I'm going into the tips and tricks now. as a nonprofit founder and things that I have learned from others. Know that I do not take credit for creating these things. I never take credit for making stuff that I did not make. Okay. So your parent handbook, I did not come up with that idea. Now, my parent handbook is very specific to our organization and to our program. I have specific things that are there, but the idea of a parent handbook is not new. It is not my idea. And so I feel very comfortable. If you don't have a parent handbook, get one. Okay? Get one, pass it out, have your parents sign it. Okay? Make sure all the appropriate permissions are in there. Other things that we review during our parent orientation are field trips and just our policies and the culture that we like to have and some of the reasoning and background. I give parents an opportunity to meet me. And again, remember, one of our 4 C's is community. That's our last C, but that does not mean that it is the least important. Community is extremely important to me. Again, that was taught to me by other folks. Shout out to those who came before me, number one, in the broader community of the diaspora, because there's a way that we do community. And the way you took that, I meant it that way. I'm not trying to be slick. I'm serious. So there's a way that we do community in certain aspects, as well as there is a specific way that I manage and am the front of the Miss Steph Science Club community. And so it's an opportunity for families to gather, to meet each other, to see who they're going to be in community with, because we work together. And I also allow adult family members to come, specific trusted, hard on the trusted, safe family members to come on field trips. To do all that, we have to meet together before program starts. And that's why I say it is mandatory. And I do make our orientation mandatory. And so we manage things, folks have trips and all that type of stuff, but we manage things, but the intent is for all of us, or as many of us as possible, come together a week before. That gives families time. Why is it a week in advance? Because what if they need certain forms? Because there are forms that, again, DOH, Department of Health, they're going to tell you that you need, okay, on site for each child that is on site when they come to do your inspection. If you don't have that paperwork, it's not pretty. And so we give families enough time. This is why I don't do orientation the Friday before camp anymore. I used to do it like way closer to camp. Historically, for the last 15 years, I have done it at like the Monday before camp. Give you time to get yourself situated, okay? Also, because sometimes families may be away, that is also why I allow a trusted adult family member to come. Maybe the parents are away with child. Okay, fine. But someone who most likely, like auntie, who's most likely going to be doing pickup, that person most certainly can come. That person knows things about the family, knows things about the child, and can come. Somebody who's on the emergency contact or all that type of stuff. Also, things that you can also do at your parent orientation. Verify. For a camp like mine, where we allow you to come some weeks and you don't have to come the entire time, verification of when the child is going to be there, verification of the camp, the right t-shirt size, all those things may seem like they're little things, but they are things that make camp nice, okay? And they make it a enjoyable experience. We have very high reviews, and we keep them that way because of the communication. Additionally, I make it a point. Do I have your proper contact information? Because an emergency is not the only time I want to contact you. A time when the child is quote unquote misbehaving is not the only time I want to contact you. I want you to know what we're doing today. And also sometimes with children who are particularly young, and because we have a tight-knit group, I'm able to send out pictures throughout the day if a kid does something really exciting. Or maybe I will take a picture and then be able to show the family that picture. Again, we are a very, very high touch when it comes to summer camp. That's why we have a relatively small, or rather more intimate group, because it's designed that way so that we are able to do the quote unquote little things, so that you have a connection to your child's experience. Because the idea is that if I'm taking pictures of something that a child has made and showing it to you at pickup, now you can continue the learning and continue the discussion at home. Because remember, science club is about developing scientists and developing their confidence around being a scientist. And part of being a scientist is communicating what you have learned and what went wrong, what went well, what you would change, what you would do the next time. All of that stuff, it helps children be able to develop their verbal skills if they are practicing communication at an early age. Okay? And so to do that, you need to know what has happened during the day. So everything, again, intention, plan, execute, all those things. So when you've been seeing me post different things, each of the materials that I have been posting, each material has a specific intention, it has a plan with it, and then we will execute it, and you'll be able to see it throughout summer camp. You'll see how we use the new dissection kits, which is the first time we've been using those. You'll see how we're using those. You'll see that we're doing certain lessons and activities that we've done for years that we are carrying forward. There's our Hot Wheels / straw bridge, right? That we've been doing for this will be, I want to say this is the 5th year that we have done that particular project. And actually, no, the 4th year that we've done that particular project. It's a full camp project. And yes, for us, because our camp is on the smaller side, we can do a full camp project where all of the children and all of the age groups work on one specific project that we leave up in the room and play with throughout the remainder of the week. And so those are some of the things that you can do when you establish community at the beginning, right? By making sure that families meet together, and then we collaborate throughout summer. And we make sure that families, that the adult family members of children know what activities are happening throughout the day so that they can continue the learning. Because additionally, one of the things that you've heard me say more than once is that our summer science club is the equivalent, no less than, actually probably a little bit more than, a year and a half's worth of elementary school science, regardless of the level that your child is at. Some of y'all may be wondering, well, how are you? I know for a fact. Why do I know? Because this is my thing. This is the stuff that we do. We are in and out of schools. We are communicating on a regular basis. That's on a regular basis with parents, teachers, students, volunteers, with all of our stakeholders. And so we know what our summer camp provides. So if your child is participating in all 5 weeks, I know that they have been supplied with the equivalent of a year and a half, give or take. Well, not give or take, but give even. Worth of science just in the time alone. Okay? Because I know, I've done the research, I've had the conversations, that on average children are getting about 40 minutes or less of hands-on science education during their school week. Not day, week. Okay? I've shared that with you all before. And so that's where we get the number of the calculation of how do I know that it's a year and a half worth in just in time alone. It's because we have done the calculation of the amount of direct instruction and exploration time that each child gets throughout the week, because we have 2 science blocks every day. Okay? And our field trip day, we do count the field trip day as 2 science blocks because there's quite a bit that we do. So all of that being said, I've reviewed with you your Science Club news. Yes. Thank you for watching thus far. We've talked about the parent orientation tonight. We've talked about the launch next week. We've talked about when we're going to be on summer break. We've talked about when we're going to come back, and the fact that I've got some lovely surprises for you all that I'm working on now. so that when we launch in September, we've got some fun stuff, okay? We've also talked about my main reason as far as the importance of having high quality, not just high quality materials, but high quality interactions with families starting at your parent orientation. And of course, as you can imagine, staff orientation is just as effective and just as detailed and meeting the standards set forth by Department of Health, as well as going above and beyond and doing some extra activities with my staff. And we, of course, will have the mandated staff training this week before camp starts. We are doing all of these things to make sure that our camp is not only meeting, but exceeding standards. All right, to do a little teacher speak for you. Now, let's do a little review. This is not sponsored, nor is this anything other than just reviewing this particular product. You all know I like to do a little unboxing sometimes. I have been knee deep in materials product review, okay, in the materials for this particular summer. Every summer there are certain things, like I said earlier, there are activities that we do. We will do some kind of elephant toothpaste, like that's happening because the kids like it. We will do slime at some point in time. Some, actually, like 3 or 4 different variations of slime at some point in time. We will absolutely do our science play block, which is a full hour of playtime and all that type of stuff. Actually, this product was purchased with intention. Again, you set your intention, then you plan, and then you execute. Those are the 3 kind of steps. And it's a program design process as well as a program implementation process, which is not the same thing as program design. And we can talk more about that in future when we get back from summer break. I'll talk to you a bit more about the consulting and the different services that we provide, because I already have discussed with several of our centers about coming in and doing their STEAM training. So yeah, anywho, so this is an unboxing. I bought a product like this before. Okay. Also, keep in mind, brands change their formulation. So just because you bought something before, we all know this for a fact, right? Coca-Cola does not taste the exact same as it used to taste. Sprite doesn't. Poland Spring water tastes a little bit different. This is sticky. All right, so let's get into this product review. I bought this to be used for science play, which is our playtime in the part of our playtime in the afternoon, because they also have a free time. So they have kind of a focused science exploration time, which is different from their science investigation time, which is very like direct instruction in the morning, and then in the afternoon time. During summer camp, we have a focused science exploration time where we all do one activity together. And then we have a free time where I just put out multiple stuff and I go, have fun with it. And I actually mean that. Have fun with it, right? So this is supposed to be used for multiple things. This also, another thing that happens when it comes to Play-Doh and these like products that are like this, they not only do the formulations change over time, and not only are they different from each brand, but the colors, because of how pigment reacts to the other substances that are in stuff like this, the colors may have different textures. I know that may be surprising to y'all, especially folks who are not like hardcore scientists, but the colors are different, okay? All right, so this product, this I got as our Play-Doh. And notice how this is spelled this way. All right. Dazzlin is the brand. It's a pound. It's quite a bit because I need a lot. Okay. And if you're wondering how to do the Play-Doh circuits, which is the thing that I'm looking to do with this, one of the things I want to do with this, okay? The other thing is that I wanted the children to play with it how you play with Play-Doh. This is very sticky. So this is the first, one of the things that I'll say about this. I may add, interesting. So if I put quite a bit of pressure on it, like for example, like if I play with it less like Play-Doh and more like it's slime, and I put a lot of pressure on it, then it behaves more like Play-Doh. And it's able to keep its shape and all that type of stuff. But typically most Play-Doh, it keeps its shape, it's more true, it'll stay more true to shape than what this does. This is actually relaxing a little bit, and it's giving me, yeah, this is interesting. This product is behaving a little bit like slime, and like I said, it's sticky. Now it's not sticking to my fingers like slime would as much. There's a little bit of it there. Yeah, see? So regular, the Play-Doh PLAY-P, DOH. That the brand that most of us are familiar with. Okay. That product doesn't stick to the hand. Like this is actually giving me kind of some oil on my hands. By the way, get that there's a type of oil in all Play-Dohs. There's a certain amount of water. There's a certain amount of some type of flour typically. This does contain wheat. So if you have students that are wheat sensitive, or if you're working with very young children and you're concerned about them putting it in their mouth and they have a wheat allergy, gluten or a wheat allergy, keep in mind gluten is in wheat, but not all children who are have a gluten sensitivity or gluten allergy will have trouble with things that have wheat in it as far as touching it, okay? But they absolutely will not be able to eat it. It depends on what's going on. Again, these are the things that you discuss at the parent orientation. You find out, you clarify children's allergies, sensitivities, and all those types of things. And so, and especially since in our program, I like to really make sure that children feel very well cared for and educated and safe. Again, respect, safety, learning, fun. Those things go for everybody in our community. And so because of that, you know, I'll ask families, we've got a small enough group to where I can say, okay, well, what's an activity so-and-so likes a lot, and all those sorts of things. We can do those things. At bigger camps, it's hard to really personalize the experience. All right, so I'm going to do this. I suspect it is possibly not going to go well. Let me show y'all what I'm seeing. So you see this? That's not my ideal when it comes to Play-Doh. You see that kind of like real stretchiness? That's not really what I want. All right, so let's try this with one of the Play-Doh toys. Let's see how this goes. Okay. Yeah. So my review on this is that it's very sticky. Okay. And I know today it's warm, but it's not warm enough to where this should be this soft. It's a very soft product. This is why I test everything before I actually use it with the children. I may not be able to use this product the way I had originally intended to, and I may need to get some of my Play-Doh DOH for our Play-Doh circuits. This is, good for squishing and all that type of stuff, so that the children can have some sensory fun and some sensory play. So this would be good for our kind of experiment with the Play-Doh tools. Also, this would be good. Say you wanted to add, which I probably am going to do because I'm me and I like to experiment with things. I'll probably add a little cornstarch to this, and that might make it a little thicker. And maybe some shaving cream. Let the children see what will happen if they add different chemicals to that. So when we do our Play-Doh party, which is what I have planned for next Friday, again, yes, I already have all that stuff planned out. We may, instead of just playing with this and the tools, which was my original plan, but now that I've checked out the product, okay, over 10 days in advance, right? Now that I've checked out the product, I am rethinking how I was going to do that activity. So this is another reason why you always test products. And this, I know you, for those of you who know me, know that I've said that multiple times before. I don't care, and this is proven by something I did a couple of days ago, and every time an unexpected thing happens, it validates the idea of test out your product, especially if you're using a different brand than you normally do. Always test it out before you break it out to try to work with the students with it, because you're going to get an unexpected result, which in science is fine, but depending on the age of your students, they may get disappointed. So you're trying to manage that, as well as think about what your end goal is for that activity. And so, yeah, so it's been great hanging out with you all today for the June 30th, 2025 episode of Live with Ms. Steph. We had a quick product review of the Dazzlin dough, and I shall see you next Monday. And of course, next Monday, while I'm recording one, I may change the time for Live with Ms. Steph, which is what I did last year, to a time that worked better for us and to a time that was not disruptive to the camp process, because during the camp time frame, obviously the students are the priority, right? And so thank you so much for watching Live with Ms. Steph. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day.